All right. Good morning, good evening, middle of the night, depending on where you are in the world. We're really excited today to have some people from the team on Komodo here with us. We've got Audo Kowitz, who's marketing. We've got Jason Brown, business development. And then we got Charles Gonzalez also with biz dev. So thank you all for joining. And then my co-founder, John Farjo, CPO at LunarCRUSH here as well. What a crew. I think this might be our first with 5 people on it. I don't know. This might be this is the big one.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us. It's great to be here.
Yes, thanks.
So since we got a lot of folks on here, I want to just do a little roundtable. Audo, maybe we can start with you. Tell us kind of where you are in the world, what's it like there, and just how everything's going for you.
Well, I'm currently in Bulgaria, not Bulgaria. I'm from Finland originally. And I'm the marketing director for Komodo. Everything is all right in here in Bulgaria,
okay.
As far as the virus goes and everything. And I don't know, I haven't followed too much news, but on the streets everything seems normal.
That's probably a good thing. Here, less news is probably better. And then Jason, where are you at in the world?
I'm around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so the East Coast. Things here are pretty normal. Fall's just starting to set in, so now everyone's starting to put out their Halloween decorations. But nothing too crazy out this way.
Very cool. And then Charles.
I'm Charles Gonzalez, and I work for the business development team at Komodo. And I'm currently based in Latin America. I live in Panama. I would say that for the past 6 months, we've been fully locked down. So I think it was around 2 weeks ago that they finally are letting us get more than 2 hours every other day to go out to do our things. So it's getting a little bit better. Business-wise, I think the pandemic did affect certain things for things that we needed to physically be there. But for other parts, things have been picking up. I think definitely with everything virtualizing the way that it has been, it's a good thing for blockchain, and it's been a good thing, I think, for us in that sense.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for hopping on. I wanted to dive right into, the platform, and, you guys have been around for a long time, I saw, and, there's some pretty cool technical details, about how Komodo was built. And, it seems like there's a lot of layers involved in the project and what others can do with it. So maybe Audo, we can start with you. Tell us just, something I like to do is just what is Komodo in a couple sentences? Like, how do people kind of understand this? And, tell us just kind of in a simple way, what is Komodo? What makes it different?
Yeah, all right. From like a high level perspective, we have built a platform for developers and businesses. And one of the aspects of the platform is that you can launch new blockchains on it. So we could say that we also launched one coin that is our community currency called KMD or Komodo. And that uses the technology that is available to any project or any developer to launch coin similarly. And then with the coin, there's various technologies that we use to secure it. That one that is called delayed proof of work, that we back up the coin to Bitcoin. And we have kind of exploring various ways with multi-chain architecture. And we are also exploring on how could we build more functionality into the blockchain technology itself without using like normal smart contract technology. So that we are working with the UTXO blockchain. So basically we are based on Bitcoin technology. And then another side of the platform is the atomic DEX and atomic swaps. And then that also comes together. We are working with the multiple blockchains, trying to bridge everything together, including other protocols from Ethereum to Tezos and so forth, and trying to support them all with this atomic swap network that is supporting like a decentralized exchange. And there our vision is that other developers can come in and also build DEX front ends and wallets and other applications, marketplaces, and so forth. So in a way, like that also is my understanding is on DeFi space as well. And we have launched our own reference product called Atomic DEX that's available on atomicdex.io, so people can go and check it out.
Very cool. Yeah, no, and can you just talk through a little bit more the delayed proof of work and how that works and backing up to the did you say backing up to the Bitcoin blockchain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we launched in 2016, one of the first challenge was to how do we secure all these blockchains, because you are not launching a wrapped token like on Ethereum. So in the Ethereum case, the Ethereum network secures all the assets on the Ethereum blockchain. But in our case, everyone launches their own blockchain. So we had to figure out some way to secure those. And then the first innovation we came was the delayed proof of work. And that basically Komodo is backing up or notarizing into Bitcoin blockchain. And then other projects notarize to Komodo. And then through Komodo, they get the same level of security. I think Polly or Jason probably can explain it in more technical detail, but that's the very high level way to explain.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, do you have a take on that or?
Yeah, so with the delayed proof of work system, so the general gist is that every so often we take a third-party block hash, whether one of the chains that we're protecting, write it onto the Komodo blockchain, and then write from there onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And this process could be viewed in reverse by looking at the hash on the Bitcoin blockchain to confirm that on the third-party blockchain that they match up. If they don't, then something is not right. And so delayed proof of work prevents double spend attacks that happen past these notarization points. These notarization points happen approximately every 10 to 20 minutes. So if you wait for a notarization, then your transaction, can't be double spent. Otherwise, especially on smaller chains that don't have a lot of hash rate, somebody could double spend, and they have in many cases on various exchange attacks. Several of the coins that we're protecting, such as like Einsteinium, originally reached out to us because of this situation, and it's a lot more prevalent than people would like to admit. Though just recently, Ethereum Classic suffered 3 double spend attacks in the period of a month, causing Coinbase and other services to extend their confirmation times to like 2 weeks, something ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
And that's not, really. I mean, it goes by in crypto because we're kind of used to this as new technology and stuff. But if this wasn't like a real world production product like that, it wouldn't work, right? If taking 2 weeks to clear a deposit is not, it's not practical. So the delayed proof of work system allows chains to not have to worry about such things, provided they wait for a notarization.
Well, how does that delayed proof of work system work with fees? I mean, is there a fee for working with Komodo and there's another fee for using the Bitcoin blockchain? How does that all come together?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you want to take those, Charles?
Sure. Yeah, there's an annual fee that the project would pay Komodo, and basically that fee is around $10,000 a year. And that is for an external project because there's a security review that goes into adding these projects into the security layer. And that cost is renewed annually. And basically, that's all the project pays. In regards to what Komodo spends to actually notarize or to make the checkpoints on the Bitcoin blockchain, that has all been accounted for with the funds that were created from the ICO and other revenue streams that we have. The cost is very cost efficient from what we can tell if we compare it to what's that other project Jason? Is
Oh.
it
Veriblock.
Veriblock? Yeah, the Veriblock I think has 100 or up to 200 times what we spend on doing the same thing, which is basically creating an anchor point to Bitcoin to prevent 51% attacks.
Interesting. Okay, and you get that benefit of that the Bitcoin security on top of it. So that's
Right.
very interesting. And is that sustainable long term? Is that something
Yeah.
that it works with the economics going forwards?
Yeah, we've looked at it too. I mean, from the point, some of the arguments that we get is like, what if Bitcoin stalls? What if Bitcoin dies? The protocol is flexible enough that we can switch it to the highest hash rate blockchain next to Bitcoin if we must. But we've definitely designed it thinking in the future.
So as a user, if I were to use Atomic Dex and I swap from Komodo to another token, those fees that I'm paying, I mean, this is one of the things that we constantly see the chatter on Twitter, especially. People are real upset about Ethereum gas fees.
Right.
And so as a user, what kind of fees am I subjected to as I place these trades on your DEX?
Well, the DEX and the security layer are separate. So with the DEX, I believe the fee is 0.01% or 0.15%.
It's 1,777, so it's like 0.13%.
Okay, yeah. So 0.13% is what you actually pay if you are a taker on the Atomic DEX, meaning if you are the one taking the order that was broadcasted.
Yeah, you're buying, essentially.
You're buying.
Yeah. Cool.
And the makers pay no fees.
Right.
So there's no fee for
Seller.
providing liquidity. In addition to that, the only other fees that are is the network transaction fees, because these are on-chain transactions. So if you're you're doing a swap between Litecoin and Komodo, there is the transaction fee associated with the networks, and it's I believe it's 2 on each side, if I remember correctly. So there is a small fee that's unrelated to us, but just for full disclosure. Developers can add an additional fee also if they want to take the Atomic Dex score and make their own version and tweak it. But obviously our reference implementations do not have that additional fees on top. So.
And also to the DPoW, there are some enhancements coming that we are calling DPoW 2.0, and those would bring in some sort of cost savings from the Bitcoin notarizations. I don't have the details, like that's work under progress, but basically the DPoW technology has been the same science or ICO, but now the team is looking into bring it also like an upgrade on that.
Yeah, just basically making it even more cost efficient than it is for longevity, and then also possibly to rethink the pricing that the projects have to pay every year. So a few things could come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Looks like we have a question here of when the official Atomic Dex release, because right now it's in beta.
Yeah.
Yeah, the desktop is in alpha actually still.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have an official date yet, though.
Yeah, there's no. It's very difficult because since it's a growing application, it's very hard to say. Okay, so by next year we're going to launch the product, the release candidate, because we're not 100% sure what the Atomic Dex apps is actually going to have for the users. So I mean, it's been in beta, I think, for over a year. And that doesn't mean it's not secure. The application already has a code review, and we're very security focused. So when we say beta, it's just that it's not there yet where we envision it.
Mm-hmm.
And that could change in the next 6 months. But we definitely are trying to work towards having, I guess you would call, I'm not sure if this is what we're going to call it, a release candidate, but something to that nature by next year. The app's been in beta for quite some time, and the feedback that we've gotten has been really good from the users.
Yeah,
actually, so
I
just would like to point out, even currently, Bitcoin is considered in beta.
Right.
So, like, the term is very like don't think, oh, it's beta, it's not
Yeah, it's not
usable,
finished or
it's
yeah.
only for highly technical people. No, that's not it at all. It's just that it's not like at the point that we're not going to add any more things to it. Yeah, we're still in the process of adding additional features. One of the ones that we just added is the ability to add, this is for the desktop version, to add any ERC20 that you want, regardless if it's, natively in there or not. So if you wanted, a coin that we don't have in, you just put in the contract code and there you go. You could start swapping it if there's another counterparty. So there's things that we didn't even envision, putting into the app that are, now features. So, that's the reason why we're not like, oh, it's, a release candidate right now. But we do plan a stable beta, I guess more like Charles said, more release candidate like by the early next year. So end of this year, early next year.
Yeah, and I can provide a little more information there. And I also do want to point out that actually, like, if someone hasn't been testing the wallets recently, like in the past month or 2 months or 3 months, like they should use guys to check it out again. Like this year, the dev team has been doing a number of feature sprints and is continuously improving from features to the UX UI, and they have been working like very hard along our shift every day throughout weekends also to kind of improve the whole technology and bring the wallet to the stage when we can begin marketing it, which has been one of the questions we often receive, that why are we marketing it, but we have still been on that kind of alpha/beta stage where we don't want to market it too much because it kind of hasn't been there yet. But we are now entering that phase where we can start to more aggressively talk about it and then try to get regular users using the application as well. And regarding the timings, I mean, so of course always like Charles and Jason pointed out, like what do we mean with the stable release, or what do we mean when we come out of beta, and will we ever, or like, but this week we'll be working on a Q4 roadmap and milestone update that we will push out later this week for our community. So perhaps I can already give a small sneak peek. So basically, there are.
When you talk about marketing it, there's a lot of different projects building various DEX applications out there. Like, what exactly is unique about it? Like, what's the key value proposition, and how did you look at that user experience layer to kind of stand out? Like a lot of people are using Uniswap. Uniswap's going crazy. We know there's a bunch of other DEXs being built right now. What exactly is it that makes this, I guess, from a marketing and a UX standpoint, stand out?
Well, the key difference to Uniswap is that we are cross-protocol, and Uniswap is on the Ethereum network. So basically, they are using Ethereum smart contracts, and they only support ERC20 tokens, as far as I understand the situation.
Sure.
And in our case, we are doing cross-chain atomic swaps, which means that we can support all blockchains and all the protocols in theory, and our vision is to do that so that we can make a swap between Ethereum and native Bitcoin, as one example, so that you can be trading with the real coins and tokens while holding the private keys, so that there are no third party, there are no centralized liquidity pools or anything along those lines.
So this is a threat to centralized exchanges, basically, where you get to keep your keys, yet you also get to trade on more than just ERC20 tokens.
Yes, and there's actually several other benefits. One is fees. So our taker fee, like I mentioned, is 0.13%, where Uniswap is a 0.3% trading fee. So under half, under 50% of the fees. Also, front running. So front running is like in some exchanges, like this upcoming Serum exchange, seems kind of built in. I know people are already front running on Uniswap and these various liquidity pools. You can't front run on an atomic swap DEX. So there is no way of it's not like a blockchain based order book. It's more like a torrent system or a file sharing type system that actually matches the orders. That's actually one of the I guess more confusing points that people mistake with the atomic swap DEX, or atomic DEX rather, is that the order matching on your like platforms like Ethereum and platforms like Waves and stuff, that's done on the blockchain. So the people running the nodes are actually they have some influence in how those orders come in, and which ones get filled. Miners in particular, if they don't include a transaction in a block because whatever reason, and that block is included, that order will fill before the other ones that might have been higher fees or better, more advantageous to the miner. So like the miner could get benefits that were not through trading, that were not intrinsic to the mining, and this does happen already.
Yeah,
So
it's quite easy to do.
so those are two other major benefits of the atomic swap type of exchange, rather than something like Uniswap or a proxy token DEX.
And can you just explain to everyone what front running is exactly?
Okay, so basically, when you get you can get orders that are someone has to aggregate all the orders, right? Now, front running is basically, you see an order come in, you see it before everyone else, and you're able to fill that order before, or see market conditions before the rest of the network see such, and then are able to exploit that to your financial advantage.
Right. So on a traditional market, what that would potentially look like would be the market maker is getting the information up front of orders coming in. They place their own order ahead of time in order to front run the order book that's coming in. And so what you're saying is that on not possible on an atomic DEX, but still possible on the other exchanges, like a liquidity pool, where you're saying some of the nodes are actually seeing some of this data coming in, and they have the ability to front run basically a large orders.
Correct. And the reason why this is because everyone in the atomic DEX order matching, they create their own order books. They're not relying off of the order books of a separate network. In the case of Uniswap, or not Uniswap, rather the Kyber or whatever DEX would be the Ethereum network. So this difference of you being the person matching versus, or not just you, but everyone being that, fulfilling that role versus, designating that role to the network, the blockchain network itself.
Thank you for clarifying. I do want to ask just a question quickly about the Antara framework and reading a little bit about that and kind of seeing where you guys are coming from with, white labeling wallets, enabling other platforms to build on top of Komodo. It seems like based on some of the stuff that you guys have built, it should be one of the main kind of ICO platforms, right? Or am I missing something? It seems like a simpler way potentially for companies to have their own wallet, have access to other coins, and build on top of this, right?
Yes and no. In regards to that, it would be like an ICO platform. It's actually more of the opposite. It's more of an all-in-one for anybody, any company, any service that wants to launch their blockchain. They want to launch their applications. So it could be used for an ICO, but usually when you go, for example, to an ICO website to launch your token, you get all these other services that have nothing to do with the technical side of it. It's just like marketing. They usually launch a simple ERC20 token, and they get all these things through these ICO platforms. So we're more geared towards, I'd say, business, towards enterprise. Companies that are going to be launching their blockchain, they aren't necessarily going to have an ICO, but they want to experiment with it. And now they have a one-click tool that they're able to use to launch their blockchain, whether it's a proof of concept or not. And it's already been used by government for training sessions that were done. So the entire framework, it can be used by anyone that basically wants to launch their own native blockchain that is compatible with the atomic DEX. In the coming future, they'll be able to also one-click launch their own wallets. So, for example, your wallet based on the atomic DEX wallet with your own branding, your own color, things like this, you'll be able to fork them right off of the Antara framework.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at, was from a technical and development standpoint, it seems like a very solid place to go and get yourself started, not taking into consideration the marketing and pushing of your coin. That's not what it's about. But it's
right.
As far as the infrastructure base goes, with the tools that you need to launch your own system, if you have a legitimate enterprise or a legitimate project, or like you said, even kind of tinkering around, it seems like there's a lot of pieces in place there.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, when you analyze the cost, I think it costs at least 90% less than what it would cost to actually hire a blockchain developer to launch your own blockchain from scratch, to develop your wallet, to develop your Explorer, all of these things. So it's a lot less expensive.
I'd like to ask, like, what, because I'm thinking of my own past here. Joe as well. We worked with Hyundai and Genesis and Kia and huge global company. And I remember, I'm going to go back to, I remember this might have been 3 years ago, where Hyundai launched their own blockchain in Korea. I think they called it HDAC or something like that. And it was like to power cafes in Seoul or something like that. And you could buy your coffee with it. And I don't even remember the use case. It was nothing. And then I worked for an artificial intelligence software company, and they talked about, hey, we need a token so that people can buy our services on our platform. And it dawned on me both times reading about these things and hearing about them. People inside of companies have no idea how to even think about this stuff within their own ecosystem. So I'm curious to know, what is it that you tell companies that are saying, hey, we need a token, and they have no clue what they're doing. They don't have inside talent that has ever done this before. And that seems to me probably a pretty common scenario that you fight with. So tell me about that process and how you get companies to properly execute this stuff and not just fail at it.
Well, there's a process of elimination with any projects that approach us or companies. And I know Jason has, I know I have, we've turned projects down. Basically what we do, we try to analyze, do you actually really need a blockchain? Which 90% of the time you don't. They just have an idea and hey, I want a token for, this. And then we're like, well, this isn't like very easy to do. There's easier ways to do it. But if they get through that process of elimination to actually seeing, do they really need a blockchain? And do we want to commit resources to it? Or do we want to point them to somebody that can do it for them? And then we make a decision based on that. So, I mean, for anyone for any company that wants to launch a blockchain, you really have to ask yourself, do you really need one? And what will be the purpose for it? Because, launching a blockchain involves a lot of things. And one of the things that you're going to have is you're going to have a deficit in security. As soon as you have a blockchain, you have to worry about the security of it. You have to worry about if you have apps, all of these things that a lot of companies might not be taking into account if they do launch one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Security is obviously something that is kind of should be at the forefront of the industry, and unfortunately, it's not. We just saw a $150 million, $200 million hack at KuCoin days ago. That's just one of many. I would say around 100 million or so has been either stolen or scammed out of these liquidity pools recently. Not immediately, past 6 months, past year, we'll say. There's a lot. People seem to be too focused on trying to get an application out there just to make money and not it really be built for the long term. So with Komodo and our smart chain system, I would like to point out that if people wanted to develop on their own chain, they don't have to come through us, right? They could spin one up themselves. There's no price barrier or anything to do that. However, obviously, if they want expert help, custom work that needs build functionality that's not there yet, that's going to come with a price tag, and that really depends on who you're dealing with doing the development and how much you want, obviously. You brought up before about ERC20s and like Komodo looking like it could be a good ICO platform. I don't agree with that because, like Charles mentioned, there's a lot of stuff that you have to think about when you're actually running your whole own blockchain network. It's not launching a token on top of a chain where you don't have to worry about security, you don't have to worry about anything. And so in some ways it may not seem as accessible to people. However, with a token, you don't have anywhere near the functionality or customization that you will need for any real project. And you're always going to be reliant upon a parent chain and their arbitrary decisions. So, kind of the reason why Komodo got started was something similar to this. We were originally, a lot of the technology was built on the NXT blockchain many years ago, and they arbitrarily raised the fees 10x, creating a situation similar to what we see with the usage of DeFi on Ethereum, that transaction fees just went through the roof. And that rendered a lot of the business models, for these projects built on top of the chain just completely obsolete through no fault of their own. So while a ERC20 can, it's easy to get launched, to do fundraising or whatever, it's not a long-term solution for an actual blockchain project if you need your own decentralized network.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. And so it kind of leads me a little bit into, kind of looking at your guys' main site here. I mean, in the nav, you've got KMD community, right? And you're kind of leading with the community and the ecosystem and people that are building and part of it. So, how do you guys kind of work in tandem as, it seems like business development and marketing? I mean, how are you guys bringing people into your ecosystem and community? How are you building that? How are you kind of creating the groundswell of people talking about it? You guys have been around for a while. You kind of have that brand name a little bit, but how are you kind of competing and kind of pushing the brand and the platform forward?
Well, maybe I can take this from the marketing side. Like, there are a few things that are going on at the moment. Like, just about a month ago, I actually became the director of marketing, and there were like few things that I wanted to push or change right off the bat as I saw the problems. And in both cases, like the whole team kind of agrees on these things, and we are working on it. So first one is that we wanted to go back to our roots as more community-oriented and community-run project. And we are now trying to do things to involve the community more and keep them more up to date, and also find ways that we can include them and kind of empower the entire Komodo project with the help of our community. And we are putting together more structure and thinking of ways how could we go about that. So that's something that is under the discussion. If so, anyone interested could just join our Discord and join the discussions that we are having there about what we could do. And then another aspect, as I saw as a major kind of problem for us that I wanted to change, was the Komodo's product brand hierarchy. And we have been taking a look at that during the past month. And this is also something that we openly now discuss with the community. Like, we bring forth a proposal to simplify how we talk about our technology and how we talk about our products. And we put the participants in a discussion, and I think it was 95% very positive, saying that we are definitely on the right track with the solution we have in place. So now in the rest of the year, Q4, right, we are going into more detail on this, and we'll be bringing the agreed changes live. And so that's kind of what's going on in the marketing perspective. And then this week we will be releasing the Q4 roadmap, and on that we have several milestones coming up. First one is a beta release of the Atomic Dex desktop app. And after that, then we are going to have a public stress test where we demonstrate the capability of the Dex network, like how does it scale and so on. And then if everything goes there right as planned, then we are able to move and mark the beta as stable. And then all of this will bring a lot more marketing activities surrounding Atomic Dex, and we'll be trying to build up a user base for the app, and with the plan that this then funnels also people to the Komodo community.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, I know you have your community that you guys have built within your site. You have your own enclosed like community portal. And so, is that, I guess, how do you look at those individuals, say, versus individuals that are publicly posting on Twitter, on Reddit? What do the strategies look like across all of those? Curious to hear that.
Yeah, so indeed, like the Discord is kind of the main, you could say, home base or headquarters of our community. So if someone like really wants to get involved with Komodo, then that's what I would recommend to join there. But of course, like we are active on Twitter, for example, and we have a new social media strategy, and we are trying out different things. And our new social media manager has a plan to make more polls and quizzes on Twitter to also get the feedback and kind of crowdsource information knowledge from the wider community as well. And then we're also looking at other things like Reddit, like we want to revive our Reddit and so forth. So kind of like we are very much on the drawing board in terms of marketing strategy and community strategy and social media strategies.
Very cool. And I think, Charles, you were going to talk a little bit about how, from a business development standpoint, you guys kind of coincide and work together.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think marketing, we work together in regards to the approach that we're taking for business, which is more of a B2B approach. We're not necessarily trying to sell the technology to everyone. I mean, obviously, it's there for anyone to use. It's all open source. But what we're really targeting is more businesses. And in the coming months, you're going to see that with the new Atomic Dex website, with a lot of the material that will be coming out that will be very geared towards, for example, a development agency that wants to use our technology to build solutions for their clients, or companies that are trying to build new financial products using the technology. So those are like our type of customers, or at least that's what we're trying to target with the technology, so that it can actually get some use. Things will get built on it, and then other projects will get attracted by that, just by the momentum of things getting built.
Very cool. So it's almost, if there are customers, and kind of like John was talking about our experiences before with larger enterprises that might not have the talent in-house to do something like that, for you guys, you're almost like a B2B2C, where you're training a potential development house or development community to help kind of onboard the technology for someone else. And so that seems like that potentially is kind of the core to the offering, is that kind of middle layer of developers or companies that are utilizing and are up to date with how to build.
Right. That's exactly correct. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, it seems like, it's, and in any company, and like we look at it ourselves too, and it's those questions at the beginning of, are you guys a B2C? Are you a B2B? And who are you selling to? And how does it work? And, a lot, especially when you talk to a lot of venture capitalists, and, we don't have to talk about those guys, but, are you guys B2B? Are you B2C? What are you? You should be this one. You should change. And, our view on that was always, well, you got to build a brand no matter what. Right. And, and if you're building a brand, is that really B2C, or are you just trying to kind of create a brand and So it's good to see that you guys are kind of focused on both, and you have a plan there to how to grow that.
I just want to add to that too. One of the things that I think we wrestled with a lot was, it's like, we could hire a team of 10. Same with you guys. You could hire a team of 10 people posting on all sorts of community channels all day long, fill up the shelves with endless posts. Or the other alternative is to let the community do it for you,
right,
and figure out ways within your ecosystem and the user experience and the customer journey to, like, say, right here is a really great place where someone might want to share something, and kind of facilitate that, versus it's a tremendous expense and a tremendous headache to manage a huge team of community managers. So it's an interesting thing that I think a lot of crypto projects, some do it great and some don't do it at all, but it's like, how do you actually leverage that community? So what you guys are doing so far seems to be pretty good. So I'll give you some credit there. It looks like it's actually, when you look at the last few weeks, the contributors are actually up. You've had some spikes to over 1,000 people a day posting on Twitter, for example, individual users. So versus like the last few months before were lower. So the last few weeks are coming up for sure.
Yeah, there was a pretty big contrast on like what happened this month, especially on our Twitter, because of all the new tactics that our social media manager has been trying. And some people were commenting and asking, like, has our Twitter been hacked? And there was a lot of high questions. But
that's a good thing.
Overall, like some people were concerned about some of the stuff we have done so far. But overall, I think we have received a lot of positive feedback. And also all the metrics are up, definitely, on Twitter especially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just kind of looking at some of our data here, we have one metric that we call alt rank. And so what alt rank does is it looks at a coin's performance with regards to price, but also social engagement over time. And we kind of combine those, and we kind of it's like a race. Like rank one is the best, and it changes in real time. And it looks like, even over the last 3 months, you guys have consistently been ranking in like the top 300, and at times even up to like the top 10. So it's kind of showing a strong community and some price, at least stability against something like a Bitcoin. So very, very good stuff here. I did want to go back to one question that was a little bit earlier from James. Is there any chance to switch the notary process over to faster chain to increase speed of the atomic swaps?
Okay, so I'll take this. So the delayed proof of work, in a strict sense, does not have anything to do with the atomic swap process. However, with some of the chains that we have in our wallet, we have a program to wait for a specific amount of notarizations, typically one, which does take some time. So even chains that are like 1 minute block times would have to wait that 10 minutes, which is obviously an inconvenience to the user, but done for security reasons. You can alter that setting to not wait for a notarization, just use regular block confirmations. So that would speed up the process. But like I said, on a smaller chain, you might suffer a double spend. I mean, if it's a small amount of coins, like 100 Doge for whatever amount of Komodo, probably not got to worry about double spend. But if you're transacting in hundreds of hundreds of thousands or millions, then I wouldn't. I would wait for a notarization at that point. It's just depending on what the risk of your transaction is, but that setting is customizable. So to wait for a certain amount of notarizations, or to just forego it completely.
Cool. Charles, I think you had a comment.
I was just thinking one thing that we could do to speed, because I mean that's one of the downsides to the native atomic swaps, which is that you have to wait on block confirmations. So in theory, to speed it up, so for example, Bitcoin, that takes 10, 20, 30 minutes to actually complete the swap. You could wrap Bitcoin, and whether it's you wrap it in a KMD type contract or in a Ethereum contract and swap it, and it would be faster that way. But like Jason said, I think it's a good point. If it depends on what type of trader you are. So if you're trading like I don't know, you're an OTC client and you're buying $100,000 worth of cryptocurrency, you definitely want that notarization. Just because it might take a little bit longer, but you're assured that there's going to be no double spending. It's secure. But if you're trading $5, then you might not really care about that notarization. You just want your coin as fast as possible.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I think it, especially with something like Bitcoin, which, we're all thinking could get to 1% of money supply globally, potentially 5% of money supply, these transaction times. I mean, personally, I don't think I think Bitcoin will look more like gold. You're not going to spend it for coffee every single day.
Right.
To store value. It's something that you might not need to transact in a super high speed, but there is that lag time in between confirmation is scary, I think, for people that potentially could be spending if you're buying a house in a different country and you're moving and you need to send $500,000 or something like that, and now you got to wait. Do you insure that across the time period? Does what is kind of created there? So it still needs to be fast enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree completely. There's definitely solutions that we've looked at to see how we can improve that. I'm not exactly sure, what we're going to land on, but there's been experiments with something we call zero conf. So the zero conf is zero confirmation. And the idea is that if you're trading on Atomic DEX, you have your normal wallet, and within the wallet, you can transfer funds to something called the zero confirmation pool or something like this. So this is your own, you're still in control of it. It's just set for this specific purpose of when you swap, it's instant. You require zero confirmation. And there's actually collateral in that, in the pool that you're deposited into. So there's no risk really on each side. But it's something that we've thought of to speed up the Bitcoin swaps, basically.
Very cool.
I have a question for Audo, because we were chatting earlier. We were DMing each other on Twitter, and you'd mentioned something along the lines of, if you hold more than 10 Komodo in a supported wallet and you control your private keys, you automatically earn a 5% active user reward. I'd love to hear more about how that works.
Yeah, so this is like a feature that is mixed up with staking a lot of the times, but technically it's not staking. But it just means that if you hold KMD on your wallet, like for example Atomic DEX, then you keep accumulating more and more coins that you need to claim on regular intervals, and it caps after 1 month. So example is that if you claim every month for a year, then you will get about 5.1% more KMD after the year. So you just keep getting more coins automatically, and you just need to kind of log into the wallet and claim them. And we call it active user reward because it rewards you from making transactions and being active on the network versus just, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So the user just maintains full custody the whole time. There's nothing special they need to do. They just put them in the wallet, and that's it.
And they actually don't even need to hit the claim button. If they use the wallet once a month, it's an automatic process. It's a blockchain-based reward. So what happens is that when you receive Komodo, there's a lock time set. So it'll start counting, and I think it's 10 KMD for 10 minutes, right? Or is it 1 hour? 1 hour. So 10 KMD for 1 hour, then you start actually accruing these rewards, and next time you spend it, it'll come back to you. The transaction will make 2 transactions, the one you made, and then the rewards coming back to you.
And it's important to note that after 30 days, it stops accruing.
Yeah.
So you have to claim every 30 days, or it will just cap out at what that reward period was for the
I
month.
see. Okay, that's really cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And what about another question around
one more.
where does DeFi go on the Komodo platform? This is all we're hearing about these days. And so what exactly are the plans for Komodo and DeFi going forward?
Do we want to answer that?
Well,
Sorry. I guess I'll start. So regarding DeFi, we have made outreach to and are currently working with a project in the centralized finance realm, so something like a Celsius. And we are building some unique DeFi solutions for them. Additionally, in our ecosystem already, there is a project out of Turkey called Marmara. Marmara chain. They're based on Marmara University, and they are pioneering a system that's kind of based off of post-dated checking. So it is not your traditional like DeFi as we think about it with just loans and blockchain and such, but it's actually an entirely new credit system. Well, I guess not new. It's based off previous incarnations of post-dated checking, which is still very big in Turkey and in India and several other countries. Even I remember it a little bit in the U.S. when I was a kid. I mean, we've sort of fallen away from that ourselves just because of the redemption problem. However, they have a unique solution for that. Additionally, we have built a system called CC-Pegs that we're still testing, but that can be used as a currency conversion type of tool as well. And there's several other aspects that we're working on. We can't say too much at this point. Some of them do relate to atomic swaps or technology, which is kind of our forte. So the expansion of atomic swap technology into other aspects of DeFi is something that we're currently also investigating.
Great. Maybe if anyone wants to add a little bit to that, other than that, I do want to respect. I know Auto's got to jump at 11, which it might be like 10 o'clock where you are. But you guys, this was awesome. I really appreciate all you guys hopping on with us and letting our viewers, understand a little bit more about the project. I know I learned a lot today about what you guys are working on, and it's really exciting. So I really appreciate Charles, Jason, Audo for hopping on. Thank you so much. And John,
thank you guys.
as always.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having us.
All right, guys.
Okay,
Thank you to our viewers as well and all the questions that came in today. This podcast will be on Apple Podcast, Anchor, Google, you name it, Spotify. It's all over the place over the next couple of days. So thank you all.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you too.